OCD go for a little bit. So we were discussing different options for renewal and win-back, and we kind of, our first kind of reaction and interest was, really around their event-based products that they had. And so we were kind of thinking that was a good starting point, because there is, depending on, what their products are, if you're buying like a knife or something like that, like it's probably not something you're going to be buying on a frequent basis, no matter how good we are at our jobs. So, we like the idea of tying in a win-back with event-based, because then you could also cross-sell products into that. If you're going to a baseball game, here's apparel for whatever. I'll let you get started. So that was kind of where we started.
All right, and then from a data perspective, there's a few different data points we think is necessary to get our win-back program up and running. First is the time of them, so this just lets us know, hey, they went to a baseball game, so that's how they like to go to. Same thing with zip code, just from a location standpoint, being able to promote something that's within reason. Same thing with event name. Number of tickets, that would be pretty interesting, because that just tells us, even like at a high level, are they going with just the spouse or with the whole family? Know what exactly you're going to try and sell them. And branch, so what branch of first response are they? That can really help with how we communicate to the consumer.
And our target audience would obviously be identifying users that are at risk of lapsing, so identifying what that time period is. So in this case, since it's based on event tickets they've purchased, then it would be the days since their last purchase. I think Jesse will speak kind of more to the time of how we do it.
And the tools that we would need for this is our automated journey tool, which is basically just a transactional email tool. Also, predictive cross-sell tool, which it sounds like retention science or something like that. There's tools that would have both of those combined. And the reason for the predictive cross-sell is because when you're dealing with tickets, there's so many different things that you can try out, and there's so much data that you're going to need something that's going to be able to analyze that data and get back to you, so that oh, okay, well, baseball, people who are purchasing baseball tickets, well, they're also, we find like that, through all of our data, we find that they're also buying football, but they're not buying hockey. So that we know this kind of information, so that we can give them other things that they can purchase as well. We also talked about adding in some sort of social media plugin, because events are are such a social thing that people often share these, to all their friends. So we want to make sure that, like let's say a police officer is going out to like the Padres, that he can share it out to everybody in his office to say, hey, get these tickets for like 20% off. So that's those were the three basic tools that we were really looking at.
So testing elements is pretty easy with this type of environment, but we talked about cadence. We talked about testing their branch personalization, so the military would be different, and even Navy is very different than Army, which is very different than Marines, so we could test their branch. The timing and the frequency of the win-back campaign. We talked about cross-promotion products, like again, what Brendan said is simply just, okay, they may have purchased tickets to a baseball game in the past, but if the baseball season is almost over, you probably don't have that option. So what other things would they may be interested in? If they're a sports fan, maybe they're interested in the Chargers tickets. So we talked about that. We could also talk about merchandise or other type cross promotions to put in there. And then urgency, we talked about testing, get the tickets now, they're selling out fast, versus other options like that. We talked about crowdsourcing idea, which is that X number of the policemen in this branch is signed up for this game, get your tickets now, things like that, and then certainly limited tickets left, things like that. So.
For imagery, subject line obviously would be dynamic. We have it personalized based off name, location, obviously branch, probably. We also probably tie in some like conversational type of tone, like miss you or where have you been. For imagery, we talked about testing out lifestyle imagery. It could be personalized based on the branch that you're in. Maybe army members at a baseball game, for example, versus the logo for the team that the event is for. We also discussed trying out for the body copy offer testing. Sending that campaign obviously, so it's probably a little harder. And also, since we're doing some cross sells, we'll probably be having some product merchandise on half of the.
And then in terms of the program workflow, so again, it would be, we would want to be using our, journey tool to be able to, basically make decision trees of, if this person doesn't respond to this, then this. So we would have, we would have the logic built into that system, and one, one to be able to test that, but two to also really make the whole program even more relevant, because obviously if someone doesn't respond through like this many steps to the tree, then we would treat them differently than someone that responds right away. Like we're not gonna, if someone purchases tickets, we're not gonna keep emailing them like, hey, there's this event, the day after or something like that. So kind of building in that logic and functionality. I think someone else was talking about cadence and timing. Was that all me? Okay, that was me too. Yeah, so, we kind of were thinking about like a win-back program with, event-based tickets, movies, sporting, whatever. And so we were thinking, especially with, kind of some of the windows that was being discussed for, people opting in and, not necessarily purchasing, that we would probably start maybe a little earlier than with, than you might traditionally. So, 60 days after purchase, and then we would kind of go from the event date that was coming forward. So, the event is like 30 days, that will be the first email, and then 14 days, and then 7 for the last message. And one of the things we were thinking too that we need to be cognizant of is, especially with people that we know are in the military, as opposed to, I guess it would apply to police and firefighter too as well, is that your schedule is not necessarily your own, and so you might not be able to decide, okay, I'm going to go to a Dodgers game after work, because you might be deployed or you are on duty for the weekend or whatever. So, that kind of impacted the schedule that we, to take those kind of things in consideration, because they probably don't have the same, their flexibility is probably a little different than, you or I.
We also talked about the idea of putting in the flexibility.
Oh, right.
So the
upcoming event.
Yeah, if we're trying to trigger a baseball event, let's say it's a Padres game, and we give you 20% off Padres tickets, then we're going to put the schedule of the Padres directly inside the email so that you can opt into a future event without actually having to go and check those schedules in a different source.
And that's also something that can be flexible too, if, the upcoming events could be more than just, like, say you bought, a sporting ticket, then the calendar might not be just for that, that team. It could be for other